For as long as humans have been, well, human, we've done one thing pretty consistently. We've looked up at the night sky and wondered. It seems to be baked right into our DNA, doesn't it?
And it always comes down to this one massive question, right? Are we actually alone out here? It's a question so big it's pushed us from just looking to actively shouting into the cosmos, just hoping someone or something shouts back. So let's dig into how exactly we've tried to do.
All right, so here's the plan. We're going to start with how we first tried to say hello to the universe, then we'll get into a really strange potential reply that came back. After that, we'll dive into some other wild mysteries, figure out how to explain them, and finally, check in on our original message, which is still sailing through deep space. Okay, so let's set the scene. For the longest time, our search was passive, just listening. But back in the 1970s, we decided to flip the script. It was time to stop waiting by the phone. We decided to make the call ourselves, to actually broadcast our existence out there and just hope somebody was listening on the other end. But that raises a huge question. How in the world do you introduce our entire species to an alien civilization you know nothing about? What do you even say? Well, in the 70s, scientists came up with two totally different strategies. Think of it like this. One was a massive, loud shout into the void, and the other was a literal message in a bottle. And these two ideas are really fascinating because they're polar opposites. On one hand, you have the Arecibo Message. That was a high-risk, high-reward kind of thing. A super powerful but really quick radio blast. If no one was listening at that exact moment, poof, it's gone. Then you've got the Voyager Golden Record. This was the long game, a physical object, a time capsule built to last for literally billions of years, floating through space long after we're gone. And what's crazy is that these two monumental efforts happened almost at the same time. Think about it. 1974, we beam out this complex digital pictogram. Then, just 3 years later, in 1977, we launched the Voyager spacecraft, these incredible cultural ambassadors, on a journey that would take them past the edge of our solar system. So let's talk about that Arecibo message. Imagine you have less than 3 minutes to summarize all of humanity. What do you send? Well, they came up with something brilliant. It was a picture made of binary code, a 1 and 0 puzzle. It had the basics, numbers 1 to 10. It showed the key elements for life on Earth, hydrogen, carbon, all that good stuff. It even had a little graphic of our DNA double helix, a stick figure of a human, and, hey, roughly how many of us there were at the time. To top it all off, a little map of our solar system, basically saying we're here on the third planet. It was humanity's cosmic business card.
And then, nothing. For decades, just silence. The message was headed for a star cluster 25,000 light years away, so the round trip for a reply was supposed to be 50,000 years. Nobody was holding their breath. But then, fast forward to 2001, something really, really weird appears in a wheat field in England. And not just any field, one right next to a massive radio telescope.
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, another crop circle. But hold on. This was different. When people who knew about the Arecibo message looked at the pattern, their jaws hit the floor because it used the exact same grid, 23 rows by 73 columns. It wasn't just some random swirl. It looked for all the world like someone had received our message and sent one back. And when they decoded it, whoa, it was like they took our message and just edited it. Where we said we were carbon-based, it said they were silicon-based. Our neat little double helix DNA, theirs was a triple helix. Our population of about 4 billion, theirs was 21 billion. And remember our map showing Earth? This one highlighted 3 inhabited planets in its system. It even swapped out the drawing of our telescope for a picture of some much more advanced-looking piece of tech. So the question is massive. Was this the most incredible, elaborate, and brilliant hoax ever pulled off? Or was it real? So whether the Chilbolton event was real or fake, it perfectly captures why we're so obsessed with these kinds of mysteries. It taps right into that feeling that there's more going on than we know. And honestly, it's just one piece of a much, much larger puzzle of weird, unexplained stuff happening all over the world. The list goes on, right? You've got everything from bizarre blue flashes of light inside someone's house to that weird Montauk monster that washed up on a beach. There are faces that just keep appearing on a concrete floor in Spain. And what about people seeing what looks like modern tech, like smartphones and paintings from the 1800s? All these things keep us hooked and keep us wondering. Okay, but as fun as it is to speculate, we have to put on our science hats for a minute, because a lot of the time, these things that seem totally impossible or alien actually have perfectly rational explanations. And honestly, the real science can be just as cool. Let's break a few of them down.
All right, first up, the upside down room. Picture this. A woman in England wakes up one morning, and on her bedroom wall is a perfect, moving, upside down projection of the street outside. I mean, what is that? A glitch in the Matrix? A portal to another dimension?
Well, no, it was actually something way cooler, in my opinion. It's a classic physics phenomenon called a camera obscura. All it takes is a tiny little hole, in her case, a small gap in her blackout curtains, and a dark room. The light from outside streams through that pinhole and projects an inverted image on the opposite wall. Her whole room accidentally became a giant natural camera. How cool is that?
Okay, next mystery. You've probably seen this one online. It's doorbell camera footage. A guy's just walking down his path and then, poof, he's gone. He just vanishes into thin air. Teleportation, right? Case closed. Not so fast. Tech experts took a look and pointed to something much more mundane, a video compression glitch. What likely happened is the camera's Wi-Fi connection blipped for just a second. To save data and catch up, the software basically just stopped updating the image, and when it started again, the man had already walked out of frame. So it wasn't a man teleporting, it was just a few pixels getting lost. A ghost in the machine, literally.
And finally, one of my favorites, the time-traveling smartphone. It's this painting from 1860, and it shows a woman walking while looking down at a small rectangular object in her hands, holding it exactly like we hold our phones. The internet went wild. Did an artist accidentally paint a time traveler? This one is all about our modern brains playing tricks on us. It's a phenomenon called pareidolia, where we see familiar patterns in random things. To us, it looks exactly like a phone, but art historians just kind of shrug and say, nope, that's a small prayer book or a hymn book. Back in the 1860s, that was a super common thing for a young woman to carry. So it's not a glitch in the timeline, just a glitch in our perception.
So, you see, a lot of these mysteries on Earth, we can figure them out with a little bit of science. But that brings us back to our real message in a bottle, the one we can't explain away. Because while we're busy decoding strange things here, the Voyager spacecraft is still out there, flying silently through the great unknown. And the scale of this journey is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Right now, Voyager 1 is more than 24 billion kilometers from us. That is the farthest anything from Earth has ever gone. And it's still moving at over 60,000 kilometers an hour. Just staggering.
And here's the thing. Sometime around 2025, its power source is going to die. Or connection to it will go silent, forever. But in a way, that's when its real mission begins. Because that golden record, with all our music and our pictures and our greetings, will just keep going, drifting through the cosmos for longer than we can possibly imagine.
So that leaves us right back where we started, looking up at the stars. We tossed our message into that enormous cosmic ocean, and you have to wonder, if someday an answer actually comes back, will anyone be here to read it? And maybe more importantly, if we are, will we be ready for what it says?